I'm the ambassador for the Nordic countries in general, just because the market there is kind of together, and of course I'm German, so I try to cover that area as well, try to answer questions from the community, trying to engage in projects in Germany and Denmark. But the reason I joined Open Food Facts is because of this, and this is recycling information about product packaging. I was in a project with Aarhus University, and we tried to improve recycling in that municipality. And this is just 3 examples of product packaging back then. On the left, we have a chips bag without any recycling information. In the middle, we have another chips product, where you can see on the left side the British recycling information, on the right side the Italian, but it's a product bought in Denmark, so you don't get real recycling instructions on this item either. And then on the right side, we have the new Nordic pictogram system that is becoming more and more introduced in Denmark, and you can see 3 different icons for glass, metal, and plastic, which, tells the consumer to say the lid goes into metal, the jar into glass, and the label into plastic. And we thought we would like to have that information for every product digitally. So we started a startup in 2020 called The New Sort, and we want to provide locally adapted sorting instructions for product packaging. And as you can see on the app, the product is being scanned, and then you get the same instructions per packaging part for a specific product. And this could still differ from region to region, and from the disposal possibilities that you have in each municipality. So that's why it's locally adapted. It can be adapted anywhere. Since then, we are in contact with the producers to get that product information, but it has been a challenge to get that data, either because of unorganized data, it's not available, we are scared to share that data with you. So I got more and more involved in Open Food Facts to get that data from Open Food Facts. One additional point is that this pictogram system that we see in the Nordics is the role model for a European-wide harmonization of sorting instructions. So I'm involved in that as well. So I try to think, okay, how can we get data from Open Food Facts to be able to populate it for our needs, our database for our needs. And in 2022, I think, 21, I think was Corona. But during the Open Food Facts days in 2021 or 22, I joined a workshop how to change the structure of the sorting instructions. And it's probably very hard to read, but these are both fields that are currently there, but in the past there was only one field where we could type in specific information about the packaging. For example, I don't know, this is glass, it's a jar out of glass, and it's just unstructured data that you had to interpret in a specific way. Now there was also a packaging project with ADEM, I think, that was of course very much in favor of what we wanted to do. But in this workshop we tried to sketch out a more structured way to add sorting instruction for Open Food Facts, but also for our interest, which is having a packaging shape, a packaging material. These were the main things we were interested in, and then you have recycling information and weight, which was additional information, especially for the ADEM project. So I think it was there in a very good time that my interest and in a project in Open Food Facts aligned. But I think it's very telling that me being interested with a specific need, coming into Open Food Facts, being able to shape something that is tailored for myself. So this was just to tell you where I come from. I came with a very specific interest, trying to see how I can use Open Food Facts. And from that on, I engaged more and more into different areas, which is the internationalization of Open Food Facts, the producer contact and pro platform, and now building also the community in the Nordics and Germany. And this went that far that I went from a normal volunteer to say, okay, I want to really push it through because I can see for my needs, the producer are not sharing the data. I want to push open food facts. I want to involve the community to get more quality data into open food facts. And I was accepted as a project grantee for open food facts, which gives me the ability to speak on behalf of open food facts, to organize groups in Germany and to be the contact person for other projects. Because over time, my interest didn't stop there of getting recycling information. It was more, how do we get even more data from the producers, how to increase the data quality, and also how to listen to the different members in the community, what are their needs, because everyone from us has a specific interest in open food facts. It's not, the food area is so vast that you cannot cover everything, right? So I think from my experience, it's very important to support the specific interest of each individual, find or direct them to the right area where they can help, and then build that kind of as a little spare in a very specific way onward, so it can create also benefit or value for everybody else. Yes, so these are my current interest areas, or what I'm doing as a project grantee and ambassador. I just want to encourage everybody with any kind of project to reach out. If you're not in France, you're very welcome to reach out to me, even if you're not in Germany or the Nordics, and brainstorm about ideas, how to leverage what you want to achieve, guide you to the right instructions, and also then connect you to the core team if that's needed. We are currently doing two projects that I highlight here, which is in Germany we contacted Supercoop, which is a cooperative supermarket based in Berlin. And the reason why we did this is to try to find organizations, engage them, tell them what could their benefit be to drive open food facts as well from their perspective, without me holding their hands. So we talked to Supercoop, which has around 1,500 members, and they have, I can't remember, 4,000 scannable products in their supermarket. And so our value proposition was, if you add your products to open food facts, your members can then benefit from seeing the Nutri-Score, Eco-Score, etc. for all your products. And since they are deciding which products are in the supermarkets, they have a lot better control over their portfolio, and getting into the contact with the producers to maybe even engage them to load the products into the Pro platform. So this is really a player that can, we talked about yesterday about multiplicators of impact, and this is one, at least what we're trying, right? This is still early stage, to get them, convince them that putting data into open food facts is valuable, and they have the contact to the producers, they have the contact to the consumers by being the members. They get a benefit of leveraging open food facts community to get aware of the Supercoop, etc. So yeah, there are just some advantages in this approach to contact a supermarket. In Denmark, we are in contact with a small delicatessen store called Sonjo, and it's privately owned. And this person would like to only sell products that are fairly produced in his store. So we talked about, how about asking all your producers to put the data into open food facts as a verification of being transparent, of acting fairly, adding the labels, etc. On top of that, for a small store like this, it could be the right place to get the data from open food facts and show it into a small online store, for example. So again, we have a store that has contact to the producers and to some clients, where they can see a benefit for their business model, adding product data to open food facts. I think if you know any of organizations that go into that direction, please feel free to share it, because I only know a handful right now. But I think this could be an approach to really leverage or to make open food facts more popular, and also find interest from these organizations to share, to add data to the database, especially producer related. So data quality will then also be improved. Yes. for the future, I just lined out some projects that I'm really interested in, that I would like to push forward, and which is especially the democratization of technology. From my experience, there is a gap between the technical people and the foodies in Open Food Facts, and I would like to promote or help foodies to build their own technical applications. I'm playing around a lot with the no-code tools, low-code tools, where you can leverage the API, make a branded version of Open Food Facts data for your needs, just showing a limited amount of data, for example, only the Nutri-Score, etc. But this working with Open Food Facts data with your own project, I think, can also deepen the relationship between a volunteer and Open Food Facts, building their own products, being able to share their own product, etc. And I think the two other points is what I already mentioned, is the increase the quality of the product data by going to the producers directly, and just offering any type of support for project ideas, questions, etc. So this is what I'm working on right now, and what I would like to offer in the future. So if you're, for example, a foodie and you say, I would really like to, share Open Food Facts data with my audience, but I need an interface that is with my brand, that's easily doable. And I think that would be a great testimonial also to try something out. So if you're willing to experiment, reach out. And I think this is just the last slide with my email address, which is very long, and my LinkedIn profile. So if you want to share it, otherwise just come to me and we share our contact. Yeah, that's it. Thanks.